In this video, we will discuss bar graphs and histogram. A bar graph is good or useful when you are discussing data with categories. However, a histogram is useful when you have continuous numerical data, such as a person's height. Now, when you have a bar graph, you'll see that you have these gaps in between the data because the data is categories which have no relation to each other. However, when you're using a histogram, you want to leave no gaps between the data because it's something as we see here where it's continuous numerical data and each of the data points are falling into one of these what they call buckets of data or ranges of values, making the histogram or the what kind of looks like a bar graph. Now, in order to construct a histogram, it says the data at right is shows the number of hours of battery life for different brands of batteries used in portable CD players. Use the data to make a histogram. So first you have to determine the interval size, and then starting at 9 hours, you're going to create your intervals by figuring out where the numbers would go. So for example, if I were to do this, looking at my data set, the first number I have is 12. So if I split up, I'm going to draw my lines to split this into our different rows. You're going to make your tallies in the frequency table. So I have a 12, which gives me a tally in the 12 row. So I'm going to cross that off. Then I have a 9, goes in the 8 to 11 row. Then I have a 10, goes in the 8 to 11 row. A 14 goes in the 12 to 15 row. A 10 goes in the 8 to 11 row. An 11 goes in the 8 to 11 row. A 10, which goes in the 8 to 11 row. An 18 that goes in the 16 to 19 row. A 21, which goes in the 20 to 23 row. A 10, which goes in my 8 to 11 row. A 14, which goes in the 12 to 15 row. And then a 22, which goes in the 20 to 23 row. Now, using this, I can figure out the frequency. So from 8 to 11, the frequency is 6. From 12 to 15, the frequency is 3. From 16 to 19, the frequency is 1. And from 20 to 23, the frequency is 2. Now, if we want to create our histogram, we can set up our graph so the frequency goes on the y-axis. So I can write frequency on the y-axis. And then we know that we're going from the biggest number we have to reach is 6. So if I start with this is 0, I can go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now for the bottom, we have to create 4 different bars, and we're going to skip because we're starting with 8 to 11. So you can draw the symbol to skip part of the graph. Then we can mark. So I start with this is 8, this is 12, this is 16, this is 20, and this is 24. Meaning that this area is for 8 to 11, this is for 12 to 15, this would be for 16 to 19, and the last one would be for 20 to 23. Now we can create our different bars. So for example, the first one for 8 to 11 we see as a frequency of 6. So I can make my bar that goes from 8 to 11 all the way up to 6. And you can color it in. Then for the next one, we have that for the number of hours from 12 to 15, we have a frequency of 3. So I can say from 12 to 15 with no spaces should go up to 3. You can shade in your graph. Then for the next one, from 16 to 19 should have a frequency of 1. So from 16 to 19, leaving no gaps there, I go up to 1. And then for the last number, we have from 20 to 23 has a frequency of 2. So I can draw on my bar from 20 to 23 goes up to 2, and you can shade in your histogram.